Ten Hag is just not the right man for this job. I've been saying it for ages and ages. I mean, he simply cannot manage the team next season. But I almost wonder now, they've got a cup final and they've got a few important games that could mean European football next year or not. And at some point, you've got to make a decision, right? Well, there's nothing. They're going to get absolutely hammered by Manchester City. They're going to get annihilated. In fact, Arsenal will smash them to bits at Old Trafford. Newcastle will probably beat them, and I wouldn't even fancy them going to Brighton either. They might not get anything out the rest of the season if they're playing like that. And I just wonder, with so much at stake, even though it's only for 4 games, I wonder whether the board might just have to try to do something here and now and be quite radical about it. I'm not sure. But he simply cannot manage this team next season. He's not good enough. I've thought it for ages. He's just not good enough to manage Manchester United.
And would a performance in the way they've lost tonight like that just add even more fuel to people's opinions, like Michael, to that fire?
Yeah, look, it's been a difficult one, I suppose. I know Michael said he's felt it for a long time, and the signs have been there that it's going to be difficult for him to do it next year. But that tonight almost felt like a final nail in the coffin, really. There's a lack of know-how from the team, a lack of effort, which is the big disappointing thing. Going to a team like Crystal Palace, look, don't get me wrong, they're a good team, they're doing well, but whatever situation Manchester United, they should be not going there and losing 4-0. It felt like the end. Now, if it is the end, I'm not sure, because what did it do? You know, what's out there at the minute? I've always felt for a while that he might get another year and work for a club that is steadied down, calmed down a little bit by the new owners. But it just doesn't feel like it now, because I felt, who's there to replace him? Who is out there? There wasn't really anybody. Now, with Thomas Tuchel saying he's leaving Bayern Munich, I think doesn't create a bigger problem for him, because I think the problems are there anyway. I think it's quite plain to see that it feels like borrowed time, and I'm watching that performance tonight. Sometimes you get them performances where you think this is the end, and that almost felt like it. I remember Ole Gunnar at Watford away. I think it
did have a similar look to it tonight.
It felt very similar to me. It just fell at the end. But what do you do for the last 4 games? Michael said you've got a big cup final. You can't see. You can't see where a win's coming from. You look at the last 3 fixtures, even before tonight, look at the game, you can't see where a win.
They've won 1 in 7.
That was against Sheffield United, the team that have been relegated. They can't beat Burnley at home.
Got to try something different.
Anything. Steve McClaren?
Yeah. We've played under Steve McClaren.
Yes.
He's coached us. There is no way, and we had a discussion before, there is no way that his fingerprints are anywhere near that team. He is a brilliant, brilliant coach, and that team is not being coached at all. No way. There's no way Steve McClaren is the first team coach.
Yeah, he's not touching that team. I don't think.
He's brilliant.
The manager must not be letting him touch that team, because everyone thinks we were a great team that attacked everybody and went at people. Sometimes we played against better teams. Steve McClaren put sessions on to make sure you stopped other teams, getting the distances right, getting your angles right, especially in the centre midfield, all across the midfield. And he has got no impression on that team whatsoever.
He's as good a coach as I've played under.
He's the best coach I ever had.
He's a brilliant, brilliant coach. There is no way on earth, Steve, I'm telling you, that he's got anything to do with coaching that team.
No.
It's impossible. Because that team is absolutely clueless right the way through it. Right the way through it. There's not one thing that I think that works in that team. I don't rate anything about it. Anything. And Steve McClaren is a top operator. And I can only think he's there, there's other people coaching the first team and he's just a bystander.
So you'd be quite happy if Ten Hag went for the last 4 games, including the cup final, Steve McClaren lead the team?
For 4 games, yeah. Anything, they're going to get smashed out the ballpark by every team they playing like that today. Manchester City are going to demoralise them at Wembley in front of millions of people. It's embarrassing. That's just embarrassing how they're playing. Something's got to change. I know it's going to change in the summer, but it's got to change. I think it's got to change now. There's too many big games. This could, This is European football next year. This is a trophy at the end of the year.
There's not actually that many bad players there, is there?
No,
Do you know what I mean? It looks
shape
like
that team into
they're
a lot
not
better.
being coached when it comes to being the manager's fault. We had times when, I remember Michael Carrick and Darren Fletcher playing centre-half at times for us, 3 or 4 times, we lose centre-half. So what? It gives you the bigger challenge, you know what I mean? Say, go on, right, come on, we're more determined, but there's just no, it looks like the fight's gone out of them.
So Palace 4-0. I mean, it's incredible, you know, the way Manchester United is playing at the moment, meaning conceding goals up, left, right, and centre. 81 goals conceded already this season, and they still have 2 matches to play. 81 goals. I mean, 3 matches to play, and they have conceded 81 goals in 35 games. It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, tonight epitomizes their season so far defensively. They are all over the place. Like, I mean, I know they have injuries at the back, but to have professional footballers play like they did at the back, Casemiro is an elite level footballer. Forget about age or whatnot, but he has at least experience at the highest level. I mean, you go to Real Madrid, Tchouaméni is playing centre back and he does it very well. Casemiro has that experience, and most of the mistakes that he made today weren't because of age. It's just lackluster carelessness, like things that he should have known, should have avoided, like putting the ball out of touch or conceding a corner and you try to control the ball and then lose it. You know, like, so many mistakes from that guy tonight, and he cost Manchester United, honestly. I mean, I won't say single-handedly because the whole team, was washed. I mean, like, I couldn't pick a player that I said played well from 1 to 11. Everybody was so bad. I don't know what's going on with them. But the way they are playing, how are they going to get anything away out of the game against Arsenal, Newcastle, or going to Brighton on the last day? If Brighton need that much for Europe, the Man U are not going to beat them. And they have a FA Cup against Manchester City, which you can say that they have already lost even before the game kicks off. So that's how bad they are playing at the moment, and I can't put my head around it. You know, whenever I watch them, I notice something very glaring, like the distance between the midfield line and the defensive line is like acres of space. Like, how can a coach see this and not do anything about it? Like, put somebody in there, let him not move, put a number 6 there. I mean, block that midfield, that middle, or rather switch to 3 at the back and let the centre backs jump into the midfield to tackle, to press. I mean, on the front, to do front foot pressing, because the way they are doing it, the way they are playing now, nothing is working. They are not pressing, they are not recovering balls, they have gaps everywhere in between lines and making defensive mistakes. I think they have lost a lot of confidence in themselves. And tonight they didn't have Fernandes for the first time in ages. They didn't have Fernandes, and I wouldn't say that it showed, because they had enough quality to trouble Crystal Palace. But that game, for a long period, looked like a training match, looked like a kind of kickabout. Palace weren't even serious. They could have scored even more. That's how terrible Manchester United look, and they have to do something about it before it gets worse. I'm not sure that I think it's already worse, because they have lost their 7th place to Chelsea, and they are now 8th with those matches that they have to play. And Chelsea have easier fixtures, so it's going to be difficult for them to recover that position. And from now on, I mean, how can Ten Hag continue to coach that team into next season? That's the question. And I agree with Michael Owen and Paul Scholes. Ten Hag cannot be the coach of Manchester United next season. It's just not possible. He doesn't have what it takes. He's just not good enough.